bottle. I do not have a bottle. Sorry. What are you doing, guys? Huh? What are you doing? Hey, buttermilk. Here, sweetie. What are you doing, huh? So this is Heritage Homestead Goat Dairy, and we're here talking about all the crazy things that are going on right now. COVID-19, climate change.
And how important is today knowing your farmer, and I know mine.
Yes, we do. We know each other, and she can ask me all the hard questions. What am I doing? How do I raise my animals? How do I make my cheese? How am I keeping things clean? Stella! What are you doing, Mama? Huh? What's all the goats doing? Wah! Wah! No. Stay here. Stay here. Stay here. Stay here. Good. Look out. Oh man, your milk is all nasty. How did you do that? Hang on, I'll get some of the milk. Look out. Look out. Look out. Look out. Look out. Yeah, so, you know, while it's hard times for a lot of different like restaurants and wineries and shops, it's been a boon for us. The High Country Food Hub went from an average of about 105 customers to over 500 every week. And we've added quite a few new producers. So I think we're up over 70 different producers selling through the Food Hub now, including restaurants who are doing complete dinners. You can, I mean, there was a lasagna kit last week that was just amazing. It had everything you needed to make lasagna, all packaged up in a bag. It was great.
Who made that?
Basil's. So Basil's, Reed's Catering, Farm Cafe, and one more are selling pre-made dinners.
I was afraid about Farm Cafe.
Yeah, no, they're doing good. They are, they're okay. So
but what about the people in need that they used to feed?
Well, they're feeding them through Hospitality House. Hospitality House is serving 3 meals a day. Farm Cafe is cooking 2 of those meals and bringing them over. So different either restaurants or organizations are making, because the Hospitality House is overwhelmed. They're feeding 140 people a day. You could come and get a meal, and you can either take it to go or you can come and sit and eat and then go. And then the Food Hub just got a big grant from Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they're providing 89 food boxes to service workers for 8 weeks. They did their first box this past week. So if you're a service worker, it's first come, first serve. You can come and get this food box, and it had like $45 worth of goods in it. So it had sausage, it had all kinds of salad greens. Next week it's gonna have our cheese in it. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah, and you just come and get your box. I grew up in New York, and I came to North Carolina in 1998. I mean in 1987. And I worked at UNC Charlotte in their outdoor programs. And then I went to the North Carolina Outward Bound School, where I met Lon. And we got married there, and then we left there and bought this place. And we were just gonna homestead, and then the farm was just covered in multiflora rose, so we got goats to eat that, and I really like, and we happened to get dairy goats, and I really like, well, we both really like dairy. So we started milking them and making cheese and yogurt and kefir, and then we had more than we could eat, so we would give it to friends, and they really liked it, and they said, you should do this. And I really like animals more than gardening. So I talked Lon into building me the dairy, and here we are. This was never a part of the plan. So we bought the front part of the farm in 1994. Then we bought this back piece of property in 1998. And we started building the dairy in 2006. of women really wanted to farm, and the guys were not being very helpful when we asked them for advice or wanted to learn things, and they would just say, oh, it's too hard, you can't do it, you're women, blah, blah, blah. So we said, okay, we'll figure this out. So we would get together at each other's farms, and somebody would have a topic to present that was of interest to us, and then we would have a potluck dinner. And we did this once a month for several years, and then many of us actually started farming or had farms that got bigger or expanded what we were doing. And it was really kind of fun times because it was a really great group of women. And
which year was this?
About 2000. And so for a long time we were just a group of women, and we weren't really organized. The Appalachian Studies Department helped us get a grant, and Appalachian managed the grant because we weren't like an official entity. We were just this group of women. And we put on a big conference, and over 125 women came for that conference. It was really interesting. There was just real interest on the part of women to grow food or raise animals, and they wanted more information. So that just like clued us into, wow, we're onto something. So another person who was working at App in the Enterprise Center then, whose background was, she actually had a law degree, and her area of expertise was nonprofit. So she helped write our nonprofit application to the IRS. We got approved, and then we became an official organization called Blue Ridge Women in Agriculture. And we decided on Blue Ridge Women because it was 7 counties of women that were involved. Wilkes, Allegheny, Ashe, Watauga, Avery, and Mitchell-Yancey. So it was a pretty big geographic area, and the Blue Ridge kind of described everything but Wilkes. Wilkes is kind of at the foot of the Blue Ridge, but there was nothing that encompassed everything, so that's why we went with Blue Ridge Women in Agriculture. So some of the early farmers, so there's Betty Thomas, who was with Creek Song Farm, who's still very active. Let's see, who else was there? Hollis Wild, who actually runs a bunch of greenhouses. Sue Counts, who was the director of the Cooperative Extension in Watauga. She's retired now, but still very active. Let's see, let me think of some of the other ones that were there. My mind is going blank. And then, so from that early group, then, you know, folks like Holly at Against the Grain and Amy at Springhouse. Recently, Kara at Full Moon Farm. Olivia Sanders at Soil and Shine, who does the fermented foods. Let me think, some more people. Gosh, there's been so many, my mind is just not. So actually, most of those women are still involved in agriculture in one way or another. Maybe not actually farming, but they run farmers markets, or they are involved with the food hub, or they are farming. So some actually are cooperative extension agents. So they're still involved, and they're actually moved all over the country now. But there's still a core of women who gather every now and again to celebrate our success in farming. Blue Ridge Women in Agriculture still does a lot of workshops and grants just for the women farmers. I think there's one they're announcing right now. Hatchet Coffee is really interested in female farmers in agriculture, and so they've given Blue Ridge Women some money to do for beginning farmers, to do a grant to help them get started. So there's a lot that they still do, and a lot has shifted now. In addition to providing knowledge, one of the big complaints here in the high country is creating markets to sell your goods. Just rural areas are just, it's not the same as being in a city where you have kind of a massive population, and so you're able to sell more. Here in the high country, it's really difficult. We estimate only about 5% of Boone actually shops local, which is not very many. I mean, you know, the population of 50,000, 500 people shopping local is not that many. On the one hand, that's disappointing. On the other hand, we have tremendous growth opportunity because 95% of the people are there. And of course, we're never going to get everybody. We know that. So creating markets is the big focus now. So the food hub, the winter market, the Tuesday market, adding double up food bucks so that people who have less means can buy high quality food. So if you're on food stamps, you can double your spending power by 20. So if you're going to spend $20, we'll match it with $20 so you can spend 40. Which, you know, because we're also about an equitable food system. And farmers, it's not on their shoulders to give food away. So we need to figure out how to get the resources to people who want to buy good food to buy from our local farmers without discounting the money, because they're not wealthy. They're making a living, but they're not making a killing.
What you say is true. The farmers don't have the resources to have how to preserve their produce, and the food hub is such an important thing.
That's been a good help. So people who can't get to the farmers market on Saturday, they can order online, and sometime during the day, Wednesday, they can get there and pick up their box of food. So much rain. So much rain. It's so wet. And you know, goats don't like rain. They don't like getting their feet wet. So they've been in the barns, a lot of barn cleaning. You got to be really careful. They can get sick real easy with the rain. So we've been working really hard to keep everybody healthy and clean the barns and clean all of our spaces. And then cleaning everything because of the virus too. So there's been extra special cleaning everywhere. And I never spent so much time cleaning stuff. The weather's crazy. You know, I've been saying for 3 years there's going to be a disruption in the food system. I never imagined COVID-19. I really thought it was going to be because of hurricanes, fires, snow, drought, too much rain. Like, it just keeps killing off crops and herds. And now the big worry is in the fall, if people can't come from Mexico to help harvest the crops, who's going to harvest? So, you know, that's a big concern, because tell you what, white people aren't going to do that work. That's not, you know, you need those brown people to come in across the border and pick your food. So that's going to be a really interesting thing to see what happens there. I don't know. So that's why a strong local system is really good, because the people here in Boone are not missing. I mean, the food hub has whatever basics you need. I mean, you can get pretty much basic stuff there. Look at the meat packing plants that are closed down. So that's kind of scary. And then when they open up, do you want to eat chicken where there's 600 people or 900 people who had the virus and they're not really changing their practices very much? No, thank you. I'd rather talk to the farmer and look him in the eye and say, where did this come from? What's going on? And you know, there are small meat packing plants that we're using, but it's not like the big ones. So it's going to be really interesting.
Great. Have a nice day.
Okay. Coffee for the food hub. So I just pick up their coffee. This goes out tomorrow at the food hub. So this is all the orders for the food hub. This is Kyler. Kyler has goats and she makes soap.
Wait, she has a question or she has an order? She has an order. Did you get all your stuff?
Huh?
And you got all your stuff?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, you know, they just got a big new walk-in cooler. Huge. And then Cisco donated that truck to them. So the big reefer truck that's out there, that's donated from Cisco. And so it's refrigerated truck, because we didn't have enough refrigeration because all this stuff we're, you know, having to sell. Oh, that was so sad. That was so sad. Come on, buddy. Come here. Come on. Come on. Huh? Come here. No, I don't have a bottle for you. I don't. It's too early for a bottle, you guys.
So what are you doing now?
I am going to plant beans right